So greatly appreciated that he gets off the red eye back from Arizona where he was at the game last night and immediately joins us. That's how awesome Adam Schefter is. Shefty, thank you. We appreciate it. Let's start with this. Why is Mike McCarthy no longer the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and why was that decision made now?
Well, I think what happened was there was not the advancement in the postseason. There was the impressive regular season. There were the meetings after this season ended where Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy had substantial discussions about the football side of the Dallas Cowboys, but the business side, the way I understand it, never came up. And even in the statement yesterday, Jerry Jones said that they had talks all about football, but never got started on contract negotiations, that never went anywhere. And so I know there's been speculation that they couldn't agree on the length of the deal. I've had a few different people insist to me that wasn't the case. And again, I think the longer it went on and the less time they spent on the contract, the more it became apparent. Like, okay, at some point in time, with Mike McCarthy eligible to speak to other teams at midnight tonight, Dallas just wasn't going to do the deal. And so his deal was coming up. They weren't going to renew it. He was eligible to talk to other teams. Other teams wanted to talk to him. Dallas clearly wasn't intending to bring him back. Now, is it possible that something changed in the last week? Because I think a lot of people felt like he would be back. Yeah. And during the course of those discussions, maybe there was something that was said between the two individuals that changed the outlook over the long term to shift it to where the mutual parting of ways occurred yesterday. I don't know. But I think the longer it went on, the more you heard, okay, they're not close to the deal. They're not even talking about a deal. Like, well, there's no deal here. The deal is Jerry's moving on and Mike's moving on. And that's exactly what happened.
Schefter, yesterday you also reported that there's mutual intrigue from Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders for becoming the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm curious, what's the sense that you get about Deion's potential candidacy to succeed Mike McCarthy down in Big D?
I spoke to Deion last night in the second half of the game, and he said to me that he was not intending to go to the NFL, not that he will go to the NFL. That's not what he was thinking. But that the love and respect he has for Jerry Jones is so great that if Jerry Jones calls him, he's always going to listen. And that's what happened. Now, Deion also has been talking to Colorado and said that, made it very clear he loves it there. Loves it there, and he loves Jerry Jones. And honestly, that's a great spot to be in if you're Deion Sanders, because you're going to have two winning hands here. It's a question of which one you want to play, if you can even play both of them. Now, I don't know that it will get to that point with Dallas. It certainly can. I think back to a conversation that I had about, 16, 17, 18 months ago, where I was talking to an NFL general manager. He said, I got a prediction for you. Mark it down right now. The next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys is going to be Deion Sanders. And I was like, really? Okay. And I always remember that. And lo and behold, Jerry checked in with Deion yesterday, and they'll continue talking. But I said to Deion last night, so what's next? And he said, I don't know. And I said, you don't know? I don't know. So I think everything's really up in the air. Maybe that means talks intensify. Maybe it means they don't. I don't think he knows right now. I think it's all in the beginning stages. And by the way, I think that's probably also true for the Dallas Cowboys. Like, you may think, okay, well, we like Deion, but we also like whoever else is. And there may be other people. And as you go on in the process, you become more and more impressed with certain people and less impressed with others, and your interest in hiring certain people shifts. And so I don't know where it's going to go. Deion Sanders doesn't know where it's going to go. Jerry doesn't know where it's going to go. But it's certainly interesting that he's interested in Deion, that they've spoken, and that there's definitely some level of interest from Deion Sanders in return.
Adam, let's talk about someone else with connection to the organization, and that's Jason Witten. Back in November, Jerry Jones was asked about Jason Witten and if he would be a good NFL head coach. And without hesitation, he said yes and compared him to Dan Campbell. Is Jason Witten somebody whose name could be on the board for the Dallas Cowboys as they embark on this search for their next head coach?
Yes, Michelle. I believe that he's in that category that Deion is because of the respect and regard that Jerry Jones has for Jason Witten. Now, Jason hasn't done it at this level, but you know what? There have been other coaches that haven't done it and have stepped in, I think, and done well. Jason Witten has been such an impressive guy over such a long period of time, and he's done that in front of Jerry Jones. So you remember the retirement ceremony they had for him when he retired? Like, they rolled out the red carpet for him. He is family to the Joneses. And so, yes, I could see him being involved. And again, like with Deion, I don't know that he's going to be the guy ultimately. I don't know how the Jones family is going to feel as they go through the interview process. I don't know how Jason would feel about that. But I do believe that he'll be a candidate. Yes, a candidate.
Adam, do you believe that Mike McCarthy will have a chance to be a head coach in the NFL next year?
Well, he's going to have a chance. He's going to talk to the Bears this week. My guess is that interview occurs Wednesday. They're not allowed to schedule it just yet due to his contractual rules. But, yeah, I think tomorrow or Thursday, probably tomorrow, they'll wind up getting together. They'll sit down with the Bears. In the near future, he'll wind up interviewing with the Saints, too. Now, I don't know if he's going to get one of those jobs. We'll see how the process goes. It's hard to predict these things sometimes. But I also found it very interesting and instructive when we're talking about Mike McCarthy's future on Monday Night Countdown, not last night, but I believe a week ago, and you heard Marcus Spears and Ryan Clark talk about when they have been out and about the season in certain places. Their contention, their point was that you don't realize how good and respected Mike McCarthy is. Now, I know Dallas Cowboys fans don't all feel that way. I got that. But they're not talking about that from that perspective. They're talking about it from the players and coaches that they interact with on Monday nights when they're on the road. And so I think that Mike McCarthy's probably a better candidate than Cowboys fans believe. But I still don't know that it's going to ultimately land him a head coaching job. But that's what these interviews will be for.
Shefty, there have been grumblings that the Chicago Bears are interested in interviewing Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman. Can you give us any insight as to their thought process, and is the interest from Marcus Freeman mutual?
I never said never. We'll see. My understanding is Marcus Freeman just recently signed a contract extension at Notre Dame. He wants to be at Notre Dame. And so I guess I'd have to hear more before I was ready to take that leap to where he's going to be the head coach for the Chicago Bears this season.
Adam, last night we saw the Los Angeles Rams and the Minnesota Vikings season, and as we turn the page into the offseason for that team, all the focus goes to Sam Darnold. The last two games for Sam Darnold, this loss to the Rams in the playoffs and the regular season finale against the Lions, not the same as the guy who won 14 games for his Vikings squad. How do those final two games potentially change his future in Minnesota and the market for him?
Well, surely not for the better, right? I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about franchise tags and huge deals, and I still think that Sam Darnold is a value.
Y'all, it looks like Mike McCarthy ain't wasting no time moving on after parting ways with the Dallas Cowboys. Word is, he's lined up for an interview with the Chicago Bears for their head coaching spot this Wednesday, according to David Moore over at the Dallas Morning News. Now, here's the kicker. Back when McCarthy was still under contract with the Cowboys, the Bears tried to snag a meeting with him, but Dallas wasn't having it. Well, that's no longer an issue, and Chicago's pouncing on the opportunity. This ain't something you see every day. A team asking to interview a head coach from another franchise, but it sure makes you wonder if the Bears were peeking into their crystal ball, predicting McCarthy's split from Dallas. Back then, Chicago's request hinted they might have even been willing to swing a trade to snag him, but now they're getting a free shot, no strings attached. Smart move or pure luck? You tell me. with their laundry list of candidates rivaling. The New York Jets' search frenzy, the Bears are clearly leaving no stone unturned. McCarthy's name naturally stands out. He's seasoned, he's got playoff experience, and let's face it, he's been around the block. But here's the real question. Are the Bears looking for an old hand or someone fresh off the block? That's still up in the air. Now, we all know McCarthy's no stranger to working with quarterbacks. Remember how he helped the Packers. Transition from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers? That wasn't just a lucky break. It was a masterclass in quarterback development, with the Bears holding that coveted first overall pick and Caleb Williams looking like the golden ticket. You can see why they're eyeballing McCarthy. This man's track record speaks for itself. Sure, things didn't quite pan out in Dallas. The hope was that McCarthy's leadership would lead the Cowboys to glory. But instead, the playoffs turned into a recurring disappointment. For a team like the Bears, though, still trying to claw their way back to respectability, that baggage might not be such a big deal. So, Cowboys fans, what do y'all make of this? If McCarthy lands the Bears gig, how do you reckon it'll shape the next chapter for Dallas? Could his exit be a blessing in disguise for the Cowboys, or is Chicago making a smart play here? Let us know what's on your mind in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all the latest Dallas Cowboys news and updates.